Many residents of New York City public housing have been freezing in their own homes. In fact, some have been so desperate to stay warm that they've turned their ovens into makeshift and very dangerous heaters to cope with the frigid temperatures that we've all experienced during this brutal winter. At a city council hearing on Tuesday, which the New York Times called both dramatic and bruising, NYCHA, the embattled agency in charge of the city's public housing, admitted that since October, 4 out of 5 public housing residents were without heat at some point. How did things get so bad? And what, if anything, can the city now do to quickly fix this grave and even dangerous crisis? Just 2 of the questions posed by Richie Torres, the chair of the council's Oversight and Investigation Committee, which held Tuesday's hearing. Councilman Torres joins us now. Councilman Torres, thanks for joining us on the show once again.
Honored to be here, of course.
So Councilman, no one has been as doggedly on NYCHA's case as you have, particularly in the last few months, and few people know as much about its failings and its problems than you do. Yet, I wonder if even you were surprised to learn from NYCHA's own data that over 80% of its residents didn't have heat at some point since October.
It was as shocking as it was scandalous. NYCHA has been withholding the truth about the true nature and scale of the heating crisis in public housing. The chairperson in January declared that 97% of the apartments had consistent heat and hot water. Our own investigation found that that statement was false.
Wow.
That 323,000 residents at various points had no heat and hot water. There were 175,000 units in the public housing portfolio. 143,000 of those units had no heat and hot water on an average of 48 hours. Right? When 300,000 residents lose heat and hot water, that is a management failure of the highest magnitude. Right? That's the size of a city. And NYCHA has not fully come to grips with the depth of its own dysfunction. And the residents are paying a heavy price for it.
Well, you posed that question to the chair, Shola Olatoye, the chair of NYCHA, and this is what she had to say. She said, "The failure of our equipment during the extraordinary weather conditions is exactly what disinvestment looks like."
Yeah.
Is she right? Is this fundamentally a question of lack of government money invested into this problem?
She's only partly right. Right. It is true that the crisis of public housing stems from deep disinvestment, but it is also true that it stems from deep dysfunction in the management structure of the New York City Housing Authority. Right. I asked NYCHA, there's a boiler in Staten Island that dates back to 1950. It's 70 years old. And I asked, why is the 70-year-old boiler not on your list of the 20 worst boilers? And NYCHA said that it's actually outperforming boilers that are substantially younger. And I said, why? And NYCHA said, because we have seasoned boiler technicians managing the boiler. So it's not only about money, it's about management. Right? Even if we were able to magically pluck $2 billion and replace every boiler and every distribution system in public housing tomorrow, the truth is that the Housing Authority lacks the technical capacity, lacks the skilled staff to properly maintain their own boilers.
How did they respond when you presented them with these facts? How did they react?
Look, the chairperson could not even bring herself to say the words, "I'm sorry."
She was asked.
I asked the Speaker of the City Council. So instead of apologies and accountability, we see nothing more than excuse-making. It is true that NYCHA has been a victim of disinvestment, but there is a point at which an explanation becomes an excuse. And what we've seen from the Housing Authority is nothing but excuse-making. And we came to discover that the Housing Authority has a pattern of closing complaints without actually solving them.
Explain that.
Right? So when NYCHA repairs a boiler in a building, it will close all the heat and hot water complaints and outages in that building, even though you and I know that there could be causes of heating loss beyond boiler failure. Right? I asked NYCHA, why not send a robocall verifying whether the tenants have seen a restoration of heat and hot water? In some apartments, NYCHA has sensors that will tell them the indoor temperature. NYCHA will close a work order for a particular apartment without even looking at its own database and verifying whether the apartment has sufficient heat and hot water. That is not disinvestment. That's mismanagement. That's a rejection of common sense. So it is true that there are circumstances beyond NYCHA's control that's driving the crisis, but NYCHA's choices, NYCHA's budget choices, personnel choices, policy choices have taken a real crisis and made it far worse for the residents in public housing.
And obviously, I assume that you would rather have her not in the position of chair of NYCHA, or am I wrong about that?
Look, she has been in her position for 4 years and has failed to fundamentally improve the management structure of the Housing Authority. And there has been irreparable damage to the credibility of the chairperson. She knowingly filed a false certification with the federal government. She submitted about lead safety, a matter of public health. She submitted false testimony to the city council, not only on one, but on 2 occasions. And she has presided haplessly over a humanitarian crisis where 323,000 of our fellow New Yorkers had no heat and hot water. Like, if that is not disqualifying, then I don't know what is. And NYCHA made a series of choices that made the crisis worse. So back in 2015, in order to be a boiler technician, you have to pass a civil service exam and you have to obtain training. We came to discover that the training and the civil service exam for boiler technicians have not been given since 2015. NYCHA shut down the pipeline of boiler technicians 2 years ago, and that is why the Housing Authority was severely understaffed.
But you know, the Mayor de Blasio is sticking with her, is very supportive of her. And his argument is that, look, you know, NYCHA would have been worse if not for her. That it's the problems in NYCHA are not her problems, that she's actually fixed some of those problems, and that you guys are directing, those of you who want her out, are directing your fire at the wrong person. You say?
He's wrong. He's wrong. What has she done to fundamentally improve the management structure? And the mayor has a habit of citing accomplishments that she had nothing to do with. He will cite the 7% reduction in crime in public housing. That's the achievement of the NYPD, not the NYCHA chairperson. Or he claims that she was able to achieve a surplus. She's been able to achieve a surplus because she has received from the city of New York $2 billion worth of operating subsidy. If I hand you a check for $2 billion and you cash it, that's hardly a display of leadership.
Yeah. You know, just yesterday we aired a piece which featured the president of a tenants association in a public housing development in Far Rockaway. And he made the point that it's not just boilers, it's other things. It's like mold, it's like lack of security, broken equipment. And you know about that because you grew up in a housing project and you got asthma because of the mold. But his big argument, I think, was that nothing will get fixed in NYCHA unless the tenants themselves have a bigger voice, a bigger role in the decision-making process. What do you think?
I think the tenants are their own best advocates. I think President Obama once put it beautifully, we are the change that we are waiting for. And I think the tenants are the best agents of change at the New York City Housing Authority. And without an uproar from the tenants, the failed status quo will persist.
No, you know, the New York Times portrayed Tuesday's hearing as an example of the newly aggressive and adversarial city council, a city council that the new council speaker, Corey Johnson, is trying to mold, is trying to create more independent, trying to be more independent from the mayor. Is that a correct characterization, and do you think that's the right way to go?
We exist to be an independent check on the mayor and to ensure that city government is working for the people of New York, and it's working for those who need it the most, who are the residents in public housing. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to deliver results for my constituents and for the residents in public housing. It is deeply personal to me because I grew up in public housing. I would not be where I am but for public housing. My mother lives in public housing. And when the leadership of NYCHA is failing public housing, they are failing my mother. And that is deeply personal to me.
In less than a minute that we have, getting back to the boiler situation, what is the city council prepared to do to fix this problem and fix it quickly?
I think our message to NYCHA, if you think that you're going to proceed with business as usual over my dead body, I am in charge of oversight and investigations in the New York City Council. We will set goals for NYCHA. We will hold NYCHA accountable for achieving those goals. This will no longer happen. We will ensure that NYCHA has the staff and the technical capacity to maintain those boilers. We will have zero tolerance for the failure of our heating systems. We cannot afford another winter season where tenants are living without heat and hot water in their apartments when it's 20 or 10 or 0 degrees outside. That is unacceptable in the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the world.
And in some cases, it's actually warmer outside when it's that temperature than it was inside the
I'm just feeling so much indignation, so I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's okay, Councilman. We understand.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us. It's going to be an interesting 4 years.
Thank you.